Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm. Hey, in this project, we're going to create a 5-second animation. We're just going to make our character do some stuff on the screen. So I'm going to use my example here. I have my character, Mr. Harold the Dead, or Spoopy, or whatever we want to call him. And he's here ready to go. And I actually want to move him around the scene. I want him to think some things. I want him to do all kinds of stuff. And I want it to be about 5 seconds. If it's a little longer, that's totally fine. And I think mine's probably going to be a bit longer than 5 seconds. But at least we're just going to make a quick little scene with this character here. Okay, first I'm going to need an event, right? Events are going to help us to trigger things to happen within our game. The most common event you're going to use is this when the green flag is clicked event. So this event here is going to allow me to basically make something start happening whenever I click this green flag. Okay, now, because we're going to be moving our character around in the scene, we actually have to tell it where to start at first, right? Because let's say, for example, I was to move Harold, I don't know, 50 steps, right? When I click the green flag, he's going to move 50 steps. But notice he doesn't go back to his same position when I'm done. And if I click the green flag again, he keeps moving, right? And every time I push it, he moves 50 steps. So instead, I have to tell him where to go at the beginning of our program so that every time I click the green flag, he kind of resets, and it resets the scene. So I want him to actually start on top of this gravestone here. And I'm going to have him fade in, but we're going to do that in just a minute. So I can see it's at -172 on the X and -101 on the Y. So if I grab this go to X and Y block and drop it in there, notice that it already has those values in there because that's how my character is, that's where he is right now. But I can change this if I want to fine tune it a little bit. The other thing I want to do is I want to point him in a specific direction. I am going to have him kind of pointing in different directions throughout this video. So I want to make sure he's pointing in the right direction at the beginning. Then I'm going to change something in the looks section. In here, we can set graphic effects for our characters. Now, this is something you're probably not going to play around with, but since Harold is a ghost, I want him to start out invisible and kind of fade into the scene. So I'm going to change this, and I'm going to set a ghost effect. Ghost effect will basically make him transparent. And I want to set it to 100, meaning the max strength. So if I click play, notice that he goes away. He's invisible. Now I can just bring in this set color effect and like set it to 0. Now let's watch what happens. Well, nothing really. He doesn't even go away. The reason why is because Scratch will execute all of these in the order that they're put in here, but it will do them almost immediately, right? So these all happen pretty much simultaneously. So it sets my ghost effect to 100 and then sets it to 0. So I need to consider that whenever I'm, doing something that I want to actually see happen in my project. So let's move this down here. Something we can do is we can go down to this control section and grab this wait block. And I'm going to say 0.2 seconds. And then I'm going to set the ghost effect to not exactly 0. Let's set it to 75. Okay. Now I want to duplicate this block and we'll duplicate again. So we'll go from 75 to 50 to 25 to 0. So basically he fades in whenever we start the scene. So let's see. And that looks kind of good. It's a bit choppy. And if I wanted to make it a bit smoother, I could have the wait be shorter and then have the effect be shorter in between. So instead of going from 175, maybe it goes from 100 to 90, then from 90 to 80, and so on and so on. But this is good enough for what we're doing. You get the idea, right? He's fading in. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to move him over to this part of the scene. So I want to have him glide over here. So if I go to motion, I can glide for 1 second to this position. So 6 and negative 79. Okay, cool. So now he kind of pops up from the grave and he glides over to that middle position. Okay, perfect. Now I think it would be kind of fun to have him kind of point or kind of like turn around a couple times just to kind of like check out his surroundings. So maybe let's do this. So I'm pointing at 90 degrees. Let's have him point. Let's grab a weight though. Let's wait, I don't know, half a second. And let's have him point at negative 90. And then we'll have him wait another half a second. And then have him point to 90. That way he kind of like stops and then flips around and stops. Yeah. So it looks like he's kind of confused. Okay, that looks pretty good. And maybe even have this wait be a full second, just so it's okay. Cool. So he wakes up, he goes to the middle of my screen here, and then he looks around. Now I want him to start thinking some stuff because there's no one for him to talk to. So I'm going to have him think the next couple of things. So that's the difference between say and think. Say we'll put in a speaking bubble so that it looks like he's saying it out loud. Think we'll put in a think bubble so it kind of looks like he's thinking it. Where am I? And then we'll have it 2 seconds. That's fine. Did I die? I have to figure out what's going on. Alrighty. And then I just want him to glide off the screen. So I want him to kind of glide off the screen here. So just about there. So then I will go back to my motion blocks and I will have him glide 1 second to there. And I'm actually just going to make it a full 300 on the X. So it kind of pushes him all the way off the screen. Now we can see my entire animation. He fades in. Where am I? Did I die? I have to figure out what's going on. And then he leaves. Okay. So that's it. I mean, that's a full... this right here, 0.2 seconds, 0.2 seconds, but that's about half. That's almost a full second right there. That's another half a second. That's another second there. So we're at about 2.5 seconds, and then we start talking. So, we're at 4.5 seconds, 6.5 seconds. So this is almost a 10-second animation just right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like this is actually a full, more than the 5-second animation, but it's a quick thing, right? I don't want a full minute. I don't want a bunch of crazy stuff going on here. I just want, 5 to 10 seconds of an animation with your character doing some stuff, moving around, doing some rotation, just kind of telling me a little bit of the story. So like this could even be the beginning of my movie. Maybe he moves off this screen and then the new scene starts and he comes over here and he walks in and talks to another character and it moves that story along. But this little 5-second scene right here is a good way to start my story. So for this project, just go ahead and put together a 5 to 10 second scene using your character and using the backdrop that you created. And when you're done, don't forget to click this orange share button here and then go to the project page and copy that link and paste it into the submission in Canvas. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. It's going to be fun. All right. See you next time.